Welcome to Pinnacle 21 webinar, PMDA New Validation Rule version 1.0. I am Chikaki. This webinar will cover the update of new engine, PMDA 20.11.0. I call it new PMDA engine in this session. Quick introduction of myself. I am CDS consultant at Pinnacle 21. Last 4 years, mainly I supported the PMDA engine development. Before joining Pinnacle 21, I worked at CRO and Pharmaceutical company as data manager or SAS programmer. Disclaimer: the view and opinions presented here represents those of the speaker and should not be considered to present advice or guidance on behalf of regulatory agencies or standard development organizations. Today's agenda. First, I will talk about overview of PMDA submission process and some documents. Next, I will talk about PMDA engines and what standard it contains. And next, I will talk about what is in PMDA engine 20.11.0. We made changes in SDTM and Define.xml. I will talk about key changes in those standards. In summary, I will talk about some recommendations about technical issues and the process. Overview of PMDA submission process. Drug development would take so long, like 10 years. Once target submission date is decided internally within sponsor, please revalidate all studies using a single PMDA engine. Usually, the studies in early phases need to be revalidated using a new engine because they were validated with outdated engines. In the pre-MDA meeting, finalize the submission package and submission date. In the submission using Gateway, Pinnacle 21 Enterprise runs validation with the specified engine by sponsor. The review will not start when reject issue is found, or when validation encounters any error due to the file problems, or when validation report is not created, or when selected validation rule is different from the one on the Form A. According to the recent PMDA presentation, 10 applications stopped last 12 months, so I put technical recommendation in the summary section. During review, PMDA would request sponsor to fix reviewer's guide or submitted files if any error issue is not explained in the reviewer's guide or new issue found in PMDA validation. PMDA publications. Please go to see the PMDA website. You can find 4 documents for e-data submission. The document structure does not change since last year. Also, you can find standard catalog and validation rule on this page. PMDA validation rule and its engines. There are 4 PMDA validation rule versions. Sponsor may choose single validation rule for one application depending on its submission date. If the application date is between the start date and end date, you can select that engine. The version 1, engine 15.11.6, is already retired, depreciated. It is available for the sponsor who used it for submission already while this engine was valid. The version 2, engine 18.11.3, is also depreciated from this month. Sponsor cannot choose this engine for new submission. The version 3, 2010.2, is valid until March 2025. It started supporting SEVERITY 1.1. The version 4, Engine 22.11.0 does not have any end date yet. It supports SDTM 3.12 to 3.3, Atom 1.0 and 1.1, Define.xml 2.0. Define.xml version 1.0 should not be selected for the submission after March 2025. Each engine remains on the list around 4 to 5 years. PMDA Validation Rule. This is a screenshot from actual PMDA Validation Rule version 4.0. It is an Excel file. Rule IDs are given for each standard, Atom, SDTM, and Define.xml. It is important to remember that PMDA rule has severity reject. Please be careful when you're writing the specs and creating a dataset for Atom and SDTM. Please read these reject rules before starting writing specs and creating datasets. Engine configuration in P21 Enterprise. This is a screenshot from Pinnacle 21 Enterprise. This is configuration page of the data package. Technically, user can choose different engines for each data packages, but sponsor need to choose single engine for all studies in one application. This is a screenshot from Pinnacle 21 community. Please press Validator in the left pane. You can find a new engine in the engine drop-down menu. Changes in SDTM. Let's look at the changes in SDTM. SDTM and PMDA standard catalog. This screenshot is from PMDA's data standard catalog. PMDA accepts 5 SDTM-IG versions from 3.12 to 3.3. 3.3 is newly added to the standard catalog. New rules in SDTM-IG 3.3. 465 rules are added, including cities conformance rule and the data quality check. This number is excluding one define rule and 3 TS rules to find pure SDTM rules listed in the PMDA validation rule. For community users, please post your questions about any rules when they are unclear in community. I have already posted a couple of findings on the forum. Update for SDTM-IG 3.2 are lower. 11 algorithm update for optimizing the result, 2 message update, 12 description update, 14 assignments update. No new rules, no deleted rules, no severity changes. These updates apply to the lower versions 3.12 and 3.13 when they are same standard variables. Algorithm and assignment changes. Assignment changes are given to these rules. It is mainly to adjust the key variables within logic like the case for device domains. Assignment changes are given to these rules. Assignment change means one existing rule is applied to new domains or one validation rule is removed from the specific domains. These two types of change may have impact on the validation result. Let's talk about changes in Define.xml. Define.xml and PMDA standard catalog. This is a screenshot from PMDA data standard catalog. New engine support only Define.xml version 2. If you would like to use the Define.xml version 1, you should submit it earlier than March 2025. using legacy engine. Once again, PMDA will not accept Define.xml version 1 new application on or after April 2025. New and removed rules. One new reject rule is added to PMDA engine. DD20A finds the Define.xml other than version 2.0.0. DD20 is removed. It used to accept both 1.0.0 and 2.0.0. Modified rules. Modified algorithm. There is one modification in algorithm, 5 modification in description. Regarding the algorithm, DD0050 is updated to recognize the split domains and split subcore domains. It helps to reduce the false positives issue when Define.xml is validated. Regarding the descriptions, please see the published one later. It is minor updates, including typo. Regarding the changes about quotations, single quotation, double quotation, it is excluded from the list of the slide. Severity changes. One severity is updated. DD0102 is upgraded to error from warning. This check will find the error issue when annotated CR is not named acrf.pdf. PMDA would like to recognize the file name other than acr.pdf. As long as it meets the file name convention of PMDA, please explain it in viewer's guide instead of updating the file name. It does not mean PMDA would like to sponsor to update the file name itself. If you change the file name, sponsor need to reduce the validation. Changes in add-on. Let's go through the changes in add-on. Any change? No change. PMDA still accepts both Atom-IG 1.0 and 1.1. Summary of changes. Summary of new engine. Atom-IG 1.0 and 1.1 does not have any changes. SDTM-IG 312, 313, 32 have minimal update. SDTM-IG 3.3 is newly supported. Define.xml version 1.0 is not supported in this new engine. Define.xml 2.0 has some changes. It's already mentioned. Recommendation in process. Use PMDA guidance as primary source of information. Fix or reject issues. Keep the same validation engine for one application if submission date is scheduled. Utilize the latest version of standard in new engine if submission date is unknown. Technical recommendations. This slide shows 5 technical recommendations. This may help to reduce the risk that submitted data is rejected at PMDA gateway. First recommendation. SAS CPOT procedure does not create export V5 format. It means even if XPT is given as a file extension, CPOT procedure create only CPOT file. Please use data step, copy procedure, or autocall macro when you are creating export files. The second recommendation is give same file name and dataset name for export file. So file name statement and the data step should have same dataset name. Third recommendation is please use Unicode as succession encoding. As a system requirement, export file can be opened with encoding A when file is created with encoding A. So please utilize Unicode. If you are using the local default encoding, it would not be available outside your country. Also, EDC database is usually Unicode. Define.xml is created in Unicode. Validation session is using Unicode. Why do you use encoding other than Unicode? Update standard version. Fourth recommendation is update standard version in Define.xml to the one selected in validation. Let's say you are submitting Atom 1.2 to PMDA and you are downgrading Atom standard to 1.1 PMDA submission. In this case, you need to update standard version in Define.xml because PMDA runs validation dynamically using the Define.xml and the TSV file information. So standard version must be same as what you selected in the validation from UI. The last recommendation is revalidate all files with Pinnacle 21 when file or file name is updated. It is frequently found as a new issue in the gateway. The files are not validated after file names are updated or Define.xml is updated. Please make sure validation is given after file update. Other important note, file name and relative path expression should be case sensitive depending on the platform. Be careful. As summary, PMDA Validation Rule version 4.0 can be used for PMDA submission from April 1st, 2023 and onward. Engine PMDA 22.11.0 implement PMDA Validation Rule 4.0. SDTM-IG version 3.3 supported by new engine. Minimal changes in SDTM 3.312, 313, 32 is given. Define.xml 1.0 is not supported in new engine. No changes in Atom rules. References. The first two URL will take you to the Japanese PMDA website. The third URL will show the user English publication, including new validation rule version 4. The link for workshop in Japanese only, but slide number 6 is really helpful. So please utilize Google Translator or DeepL. Last reference is related to the export file. I guess TS140 is recently updated. Please read this technical paper when you are interested in export file structure. Let me try to answer some questions. Question. Do we need to update a dictionary like cities or Midra dictionary, Fudrak? Well, except for Midra, you do not have to update cities or dictionaries as long as those are listed in the standard catalog. About Midra dictionary coding, please talk to statistical programmer. They would like to have the updated AE domains using recent Midra versions depending on their guidance. I mean, some tables figures need to be updated using the AE domains, so yeah, AE domain would need to be updated. Question. I got a question from the enterprise user. Yeah, can we use P21 engine to create a reviewer's guide for PMDA? Well, no. P21 engine is available on enterprise to support ongoing validation. However, my answer is no. Please use PMDA engine for PMDA submission. Because on Pinnacle 21 enterprise, Pinnacle 21 engine, some rules have the FDA algorithm, not PMDA algorithm. So sponsor cannot use it for PMDA submission. Question, is PMDA 1810.3 going to be removed from the engine selection after March 31st? No, it will not be removed. It will be removed 2 years later. Sponsor can keep using it during the review by PMDA. Question. When is PMDA 22.11.0 going to be released in community version? It should be available since last Saturday. So please try to open the community and find the PMDA engine. Question, does Pinnacle 21 help to find CPOT file with the XPT file extension? Well, validation fails or CPOT data is not recognized as data. So probably you will find an issue like DM domain is missing or ADSRM is missing. That kind of issue you can find. So you would recognize you are using CPOT procedure to create export files. When is PMDA going to release a new engine supporting Define.xml version 2.1? I cannot answer that question. PMDA will post a new validation rule when they get a new engine from us. So please wait up posting on PMDA website. Question. Until when the new engine will be available on the PMDA engine section? I have no idea. It remains on the list 4 to 5 years, but I do not trust myself. Please ask it to PMDA. Any question? Any tips or recommendation about ISS or ISC validation? Please explain everything when all issues should be explained about ISE or ISS. So we're including like some traceability issues. Obviously, you do not create it integrated SDTM, and maybe validation result shows you the traceability issues. In those cases, those issues should be explained in the reviewer's guide. Well, I'm running out of the time. So, thank you for so much for attending the meeting, this webinar. And here is our contact list. Thank you so much for joining the webinar. Probably I did not answer your questions. In that case, I will give you answer in the later. So please wait for a while. We hope to talk to you soon again. Thank you for so much for joining webinar. Thank you.